Ratan Tata sir has expired. He has bequeathed a part of his property to his dog. Will is about your wish. It is about your intention. What do you want to do with your assets? If will is not there, so succession law defines certain relatives who is going to inherit, whether you want it or you do not want it. सोसाइटी का एक टैबू है कि if I am talking about my father's wealth, तो मेरे ऊपर एक टैग लग जाएगा कि मैं लालची हूँ.
Raymond is a very classic example, and it's a very shocking example too because Senior Singaria is still around.
So that's a classical example of having wrong succession planning.
Or a wrong successor in place.
Yeah, wrong way of succession.
Good afternoon, folks. Today we have a very interesting session because this session now has been like it's been demanded from us, from a lot of people. They wanted to understand about, family feuds, succession planning, second generation, all the dilemmas and planning their legacies in place and everything. So, काफी time से चल रहा था. Everybody wanted us to talk about these things. And we were also, trying in the whole process of talking to people in terms of, जहाँ हमको लगे, these are the people that will bring out that quality conversation with the rest of you so that we are able to create maximum impact. Now, in that, as I was, searching through, a very common friend of our, very dear friend of ours, Parinita Adukia, she's been on the podcast before as a branding expert for personal finance, and she suggested Raj name. And there was no second thought to it because the amount of work that he's done over the years actually, calls for a proper session with him. Abhi, there's a caveat I would like to use today. Now, when we are going to have this session, there is a very high chance that we may miss out on certain key segments, and that is not the problem of the guest. It is supposed to be the problem of the host who could not ask those relevant questions. So if you feel like that, you can always direct all your things towards me and say that these are the questions that we want answered in the next session, and we'll try and get those things out to you. The guests are always as good as the host tries to make them be. So with that, what I'll do is I'll start with Ratsa's introduction first. It's a very lengthy introduction, so you'll have to excuse me for reading it from the paper alongside me, putting my views across. So Ratsa is the founder of dilsevil.com. It's a fantastic title, sir. मतलब बहुत मजा आता है ऐसा कभी सुन के. You have been a practicing chartered accountant for 23 years in taxation, including international tax, audit, business advisory, estate and succession planning. So आपने काफी सारा cover कर लिया है. He's worked across diverse industries, enhancing his understanding of the Indian and global economic landscape. Now, there's a certificate that he holds from ICI in international taxation, indirect taxation, forensic audit, and fraud detection. और हमको कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि सीए हो गया ना तो काम आपका उधर खत्म हो गया है. एंड बट आपने उसके बाद भी इतना पढ़ाई किया है. यू डन ईसीसीडी एंड एनसीएफएम म्यूचुअल फंड मॉड्यूल फ्रॉम बीएससी एंड एनएससी. एंड ऑफ कोर्स we've all heard about how you are regular at many of the professional forums that you speak at. अच्छा, ये तो यहाँ पे आपका खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. You have also been incubated by NASSCOM and recognized among the top 5 super startups by the government of West Bengal. You're a regular contributor to ET Wealth on wills and succession issues. तो ऐसा लगता है कि हमने तो there's nothing that we've done it all. हमारे लिए कुछ शायद कुछ बचेगा. That's something we'll do it in our lifetime. अच्छा, now then you are an archaic yogi, a pranic healer, and regularly involved in several professional associations, and you have a vision-driven, purpose-driven approach to all these initiatives. आपके 24 घंटा ही होता है सर. 24 घंटे में इतना सब कैसे हो जाता है? Is what first I wanted to ask.
Jinay, thank you so much for this warm introduction. 24 घंटे ही होते हैं और हमने अभी तक बहुत थोड़ा सा कुछ किया है. देयर इज नथिंग which extraordinary I would say that I have achieved till date. But yes, I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and really wants to congratulate you and your audience who has demanded you to have session on this topic. ये टॉपिक जो है ना, अभी भी आज भी इंडिया में टैबू है. We do not discuss about it. And because of this, we face so many challenges in our society. It's a societal issue, I would say. We face so many challenges in society. I really feel that hardly there is any family जिसमें कि ये सक्सेशन का इशू नहीं है. और इफ आई हैव टू से दैट सक्सेशन एक ऐसा इशू है जो राइट फ्रॉम द एजेस ऑफ रामायण एप्लीकेबल है. रामायण की लड़ाई देखें तो उसी कारण से हुई थी. महाभारत के बारे में बात करें तो अपनी माइथोलॉजी से सक्सेशन आ रहा है. बट स्टिल वी वी हार्डली हैव एनी डिस्कशन ऑन दिस मैटर, ऑन दिस सब्जेक्ट. अपने क्यूरिकुलम में भी कहीं कोई डिस्कशन नहीं है. इफ वी एकेडमिक और प्रोफेशनल क्यूरिकुलम की बात करें, वेयर एज आई एम श्योर, आई थिंक यू कैन वैलिडेट दिस कि इंडिया में एटलीस्ट कोई भी ऐसी फैमिली होगी जिसमें कुछ ना कुछ सक्सेशन के डिस्प्यूट नहीं होंगे. मैग्नीट्यूड चेंज हो सकता है, किसी में कम हो सकते हैं, किसी में ज्यादा हो सकते हैं, पर ये रहेगा ही रहेगा.
एब्सोल्युटली. सो व्हेन यू आर सेइंग कि हर फैमिली में ये सक्सेशन का इश्यूज रहेगा ही, सो व्हाट आर दीज मोस्ट कॉमन ट्रिगर्स जो आपने ओवर द कोर्स ऑफ योर करियर यू हैव सीन?
रिलेटिंग टू डिस्प्यूट यू मीन टू से?
हाँ, सो फॉर फैमिली डिस्प्यूट्स एंड सक्सेशन इनहेरिटेंस, सो उसके कुछ ट्रिगर पॉइंट्स होते हैं ना कि यहाँ से ये शुरू होता है. जैसे अगर आप रामायण लो तो माता कैकेयी वाज मोर कंसर्न्ड वेदर भरत विल गेट दैट राइटफुल इनहेरिटेंस ऑफ द थ्रोन
राइट.
वर्सेस लॉर्ड राम. सो
सो सबसे पहला ट्रिगर तो है एक्सपेक्टेशन वर्सेस रियलिटी.
ओके.
You being the bread earner of the family, the family members have lot of expectation from you. ठीक है. बच्चे की एक्सपेक्टेशन है मेरे को हाई स्टडी करनी है, पापा कराएं. ठीक है. वाइफ की एक्सपेक्टेशन है मुझे कुछ ज्वेलरी लेनी है, मेरे इस डेट पे मेरे को ये चीज मिलेगी. यदि पेरेंट्स है तो पेरेंट्स की कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशन. सो एवरी वन हैज सर्टेन सम और अदर एक्सपेक्टेशंस फ्रॉम यू. एंड इन रियलिटी जब वो एक्सपेक्टेशन पूरी नहीं होती है, किसी की होती है और किसी की नहीं होती है, तो दैट इज one thing which trigger the conflict between the family members. आपने इंस्ट्रक्शंस फैमिली मेंबर्स को क्लियरली नहीं दिए. आपने अपने मन की बात फैमिली मेंबर्स को नहीं बताई. फैमिली मेंबर्स की नीड का टेक केयर नहीं किया. ऐसा नहीं है आप नहीं करना चाहते थे, यू वांटेड टू डू इट, बट यू हैव नॉट क्रिएटेड documents relating to that so that in case you are not available, फैमिली मेंबर्स की वो सारी नीड प्रॉपरली टेक केयर हो सके. और जब वो टेक केयर नहीं होती है तो जो डिप्राइव्ड होता है उसके मन में ये आता है कि वेदर इट इज इंटेंशनल और इट इज somebody else has done something so that I will be deprived. और यहाँ पे सारे मिसमैचेस चालू हो जाते हैं. देर आर मेनी मेनी सच एग्जाम्पल्स. यदि मैं एक सिंपल सा एग्जाम्पल लेता हूँ कि बहुत सी फैमिलीज हमें ऐसी मिलेगी जिसमें से सपोज दो लड़के हैं. छोटा सा बिजनेस है फादर का. कपड़े फादर की कपड़े की दुकान है कोई टायर 2, टायर 3, टायर 4 सिटी में या टाउन में. और बड़े बेटे ने ये डिसाइड किया कि पापा की हेल्प करते हैं, पापा के बिजनेस को ज्वाइन करते हैं. ठीक है. और साथ ही साथ ये भी दोनों ने सोचा कि भाई छोटा बेटा जो है उसको पढ़ाते हैं, लेट हिम ग्रो. उसे सिटी में भेज दिया पढ़ाई करने के लिए. वो एमबीए कर रहा है, सीए कर रहा है, या सम प्रोफेशनल डिग्री ही हैज अचीव्ड. नाउ द elder son, he has sacrificed his life. He has joined the small business of father. He sacrificed his life so that the younger son can study and can lead his life properly. अब बाय डिफॉल्ट दिमाग में ये आता है कि इस बिजनेस का हकदार कौन होगा आफ्टर द फादर इज नो मोर, हु इज गोइंग टू रन दिस बिजनेस। बाय डिफॉल्ट दिमाग में ये आता भाई बड़े लड़के ने सब कुछ किया है, उसको ये बिजनेस मिलना चाहिए। पर फादर ने यदि कोई डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं किया, फादर ने यदि सक्सेशन प्लानिंग नहीं की, तो लॉ डजंट गिव दिस राइट टू द एल्डर सन, इट गिव्स इक्वल राइट टू बोथ द सन। ये जो एक्सपेक्टेशन, ये जो रियलिटी है, इन दोनों के बीच में ये जो मिसमैच है, दीज आर द मेजर रीजंस बिहाइंड all the triggers and the dispute between the family members. There are, I can give a number of examples, but then by and large, if you look, आप जो फैमिली मेंबर्स को प्रोवाइड करना चाहते हैं, देना चाहते हैं, फैमिली मेंबर्स को टाइमली यदि नहीं मिला, तो वहीं पे एक डिस्प्यूट अराइज होगा।
I think it's a very uh, important point कि there is always कि if somebody has compromised, आज अगर मैं मेरा आज compromise कर रहा हूँ and for something that is, तो I will be expecting a certain set of rewards in the future. और अगर वो नहीं मिलता, then there is a huge set of issues that happen. तो ये, I mean, what I want to understand is कि um, why are these things not written down? ये intangible है शायद इसके लिए, या how why does that thing not really come out?
Great, great question. But before that, it's not a reward, I would say.
Okay.
यदि आप एल्डर सन के हिसाब से देखो, तो इट्स अ सर्वाइवल ऑफ देयर फैमिली मेंबर्स। एल्डर सन की फैमिली का पूरा सर्वाइवल उस बिजनेस पे है, राइट? सो एट टाइम्स इट्स नॉट रिवॉर्ड, इट्स हिज सर्वाइवल इशू। नाउ कमिंग टू दिस, कि इफ दैट बी सो, व्हाई इट इज नॉट रिटन डाउन, व्हाई इट इज नॉट कम्युनिकेटेड, आई वुड से again the major reason is awareness. Second major reason is we do not speak openly in our society about who is going to inherit what. क्योंकि दिमाग में ये रहता है, यदि बेटे ने बात चालू की, तो पेरेंट्स को ये लगेगा कि ही इज एक्सपेक्टिंग समथिंग एंड ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट आवर डेथ। पेरेंट्स को ये लगता है कि इफ वी स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट इट, then possibly I have to speak my mind out, and the family will understand that whom I am going to give what. So there is lack of communication, there is lack of awareness, there is lack of understanding that जो आप नहीं कर रहे हो उससे कितने तरह के इश्यूज फ्यूचर में क्रिएट होने वाले हैं।
I think this is a very important point कि we don't speak openly about it because um, कहीं ना कहीं पेरेंट्स को भी ये होता है कि we will not let go of something of our own, या फिर किड्स ऑल्सो फील कि शायद मेरा हक बनता है नहीं बनता है, ऐसा ऐसा कुछ होता है कि उनको दे फील कि हमारा हक है नहीं है, या हम मांग सकते हैं कि नहीं मांग सकते हैं। कभी कभी ये भी होता है ना कि हम मांगेंगे तो शायद हमको नहीं मिलेगा। आई डोंट नो हाउ डज दैट।
बोलेंगे लालची है।
हाँ, लालची है। एंड कहीं ना कहीं दे फील कि सोसाइटी में नाम भी खराब होगा अगर ये बात बाहर चली गई तो।
सो ये इट्स अ वेरी फनी थिंग, दे ऑल्सो नो कि दे आर गोइंग टू इनहेरिट, बट एट द सेम
करेक्ट।
टाइम दे आर सेइंग कि यदि हम बात करेंगे तो लगेगा कि हम लालची हैं। इट्स अ पैराडॉक्स, आई वुड से, कि
या
मिलना तो है ही, लेकिन यदि हम बात करेंगे तो लगेगा कि लालची है। सी, व्हाट आई फील, माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज कि people do not know what's the law behind the success and how the assets are distributed to the family members in case there is no succession planning is done. और यदि वो नहीं पता होता है, तो लोगों को ये नहीं समझ में आता है कि यदि वैसा हो, यदि सक्सेशन लॉ के हिसाब से डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो, तो फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ क्या-क्या चैलेंजेस आएंगे। इस कारण से जिसे जिसे सक्सेशन प्लानिंग करनी चाहिए, वो अपने आप को सक्सेशन प्लानिंग करने से रोकता है। सेकंड इज, जो आपने बात कही कि एक सोसाइटी का एक टैबू है कि इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट माय फादर्स वेल्थ एंड व्हाट एम आई गोइंग टू इनहेरिट, व्हाट आर माय राइट्स ऑन माय फादर्स प्रॉपर्टीज, तो मेरे ऊपर एक टैग लग जाएगा कि मैं लालची हूँ। मैं फैमिली के प्रॉपर्टी के डिवीजन की बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं फैमिली की प्रॉपर्टी पे एक आंख लगा के बैठा हूँ। ये थॉट प्रोसेस जो है ना, ये सोसाइटी के थॉट प्रोसेस को हमें चेंज करना पड़ेगा। हमें उन्हें समझाना पड़ेगा कि इट इज नॉट द राइट वे ऑफ लुकिंग इनटू द थिंग्स। द राइट वे इज, लाइक आप जब कहीं ट्रैवल करते हैं, ठीक है, इफ सपोज यू आर गोइंग अब्रॉड, व्हाई डू यू टेक ट्रैवल इंश्योरेंस? Not because you think that you are going to meet some accident and you are going to die, but because that in case anything goes wrong, then it will help my family members. Similarly, in this case also, not because that you are going to die tomorrow. It is because in case something happens to me today or tomorrow, then my family do not suffer because of the finances challenge. That is what is important to understand.
Correct. So there's an interesting thing जो आपने बोला कि they don't know how the law is going to distribute. So let's talk about this कि there's an absence of a succession plan or a will in right now. तो लॉ क्या बोलेगा कि कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए?
So India में क्या है? The succession law is based on religion that you follow. If you are Hindu, if you are Jain, if you are a Sikh, then Hindu Succession Act which is applicable to you. Whereas in case of Parsi and Jews, it is Christians, it is Indian succession law which is applicable. For Muslims, there is Muslim law which is applicable. तो पहले तो हमें डिटरमिन करना पड़ता है कि कौन सा लॉ हमारे पर एप्लीकेबल है। नाउ लेट्स कम टू द हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट। लेट्स डिस्कस अबाउट हिंदू लॉ। हिंदू लॉ की यदि हम बात करें तो फॉर अ मेल हिंदू who dies intestate. Intestate is, that is, he doesn't have made a will and he dies. In that case, there are four type of legal heirs which has been defined by the law. Class 1, class 2, class 3 and class 4. सबसे पहले हम क्लास 1 लीगल हेयर्स को देखते हैं कि क्लास 1 लीगल हेयर्स में कौन कौन है। सो टिपिकली देयर आर फोर रिलेशनशिप्स व्हिच आर डिफाइंड: मदर, विडो, सन एंड डॉटर। ये चार रिलेशनशिप जो है, दे आर कॉल्ड क्लास 1 लीगल हेयर। और इसमें जितने भी रिलेटिव्स होते हैं उनको प्रॉपर्टीज इक्वली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होते हैं। तो फॉर एग्जांपल, यदि किसी डिसीज के फादर हैं, वाइफ है, सन है और दो डॉटर है, तो इस केस में मदर नहीं है तो फादर इज नॉट गोइंग टू इनहेरिट एनीथिंग। वाइफ, सन एंड टू daughters, that is four of them, would inherit 25% each of the entire wealth of this deceased person. Now, अब इसी से ये सवाल आता है कि से सपोज द फादर इज डिपेंडेंट और इसने विल नहीं बनाई, तो फादर का टेक केयर कैसे हो? हाउ विल यू प्रोटेक्ट द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द फादर? हाउ विल यू मेक श्योर दैट द फादर मेंटेनेंस विल बी टेकन केयर ऑफ? राइट नाउ, इफ class 1 legal heirs, none of the class 1 legal heirs are alive at the time of the death of the person, then it goes to the class 2 legal heirs, जिसमें कि there are n number of entries which are given, और सारी एंट्री में कुछ रिलेटिव्स डिफाइंड है। एंड जिस एंट्री में कोई भी रिलेटिव यदि जिंदा है एट द टाइम ऑफ डेथ ऑफ डिसीज, उस एंट्री में जितने रिलेटिव है उनको इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा। अब फादर, cousins, they all are considered, or siblings are all are considered as class 2 legal heir. अब जो हम लोग एक्सपेक्टेशन और रियलिटी की बात कर रहे थे कि से सपोज यू हैव अ सिस्टर हु इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन यू, एंड एज अ मॉरल ड्यूटी यू थिंक कि ठीक है, आई वुड टेक केयर ऑफ माय सिस्टर, बट इन एब्सेंस ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, इन एब्सेंस ऑफ विल, it is impossible because law will not allow you to do that. If suppose there is no one in class 2, then we go to class 3 and class 4. This is how the succession takes place in case of male Hindu who dies without will. Similarly, in case of female Hindu, it is firstly it is distributed to father, son and daughter equally, जो भी इस relationship में है. If father, son and daughter are not there, then the second in line is the legal heirs of husband. That is, male Hindu dies without will. जो class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 की हमने बात की, हस्बैंड के क्लास वन को या क्लास टू को पूरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगा फीमेल हिंदू की प्रॉपर्टी। इफ इफ द if none of the legal heirs of husband is alive, then it goes to the parents of the lady. Now we have seen many cases, live examples, wherein the lady is the only daughter of her parents, and she was taking care of the parent. But in absence of will, property is distributed to the husband or the husband legal heirs, and the parents are now dependent. I mean, their maintenance is a big question mark. So these are the order of succession. These are the manner of succession if succession law takes place, and this can be easily avoided by simple planning your succession by entering into certain or executing certain instruments like will and trust.
Correct. So law will not differentiate on the basis of कि आपने कितना फाइनेंशियल या इमोशनल इनपुट डाला हुआ है टू क्रिएट दिस वेल्थ बिकॉज उसके लिए इट्स ईयर से है.
Just to share one example, abhi recently Ratan Tata sir has expired,
Right.
and he has bequeathed a part of his property to his dog. You know,
Okay.
even through will, you can give to anyone you want to, even to an animal also, even to an NGO also. But if the will is not there, then see, will is about your wish. It is about your intention. What do you want to do with your assets? आप उसे एक्स को देना चाहते हो, वाई को देना चाहते हो, रिलेटिव को देना चाहते हो, नॉन रिलेटिव को देना चाहते हो, या आप उसे कहीं फेक भी देना चाहते हो. इट इज अबाउट योर विश. ठीक है ना?
Hmm.
नाउ इफ विल इज नॉट देयर, तो सक्सेशन लॉ डिफाइंस सर्टेन रिलेटिव्स हु इज गोइंग टू इनहेरिट वेदर यू वांट इट और यू डू नॉट वांट इट. सो आपका इंटेंशन और आपकी विश इज नॉट गेटिंग फुलफिल्ड.
Hmm. Agreed. And why is this as per the religion? कुछ उसका क्या है कि how is Indian Succession Act different from Hindu Succession Act?
So there are provisions which are different. There are, see, the the law is basically derived from the custom that we used to. Hindu are used to follow certain customs.
Hmm.
The Jainis are used to follow certain tradition. The Sikhs are used to follow certain tradition. So these laws has been derived out of that. ठीक है ना? नाउ जस्ट टू शेयर एन एग्जांपल, अब हम हमेशा हमारे फैमिलीज में ये देखते थे कि बेटी की शादी हो गई और बेटी की शादी होने के बाद में शी इज अ पार्ट ऑफ अनदर फैमिली, शी इज नो मोर अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर फैमिली. Earlier, the law was that daughter is not considered as co-partner into the HUF of the person. In 2005, this law has been amended. Now, daughters are considered as co-partner into the HUF of the father. So, daughter has the equal right that to the son. ठीक है ना? So the law has emerged over the period of time based on the tradition or the practices that we follow, and that is why the law are different for others. मुस्लिम्स के ट्रेडिशन अलग है तो मुस्लिम लॉ के हिसाब से बनता है. क्रिश्चियंस के अलग है तो वो इंडियन सक्सेशन एक्ट हैज डिफाइंड द मैनर ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एज फॉर द क्रिश्चियंस. हिंदूज के अलग है तो हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट डिफाइंस दैट.
There is no one particular format कि इसी तरीके से होगा because it's a diverse country and with diverse religions.
Right. So by and large, I would say that all the religion gives benefit to the immediate relatives. By word immediate relatives, I mean your
Hmm.
own family, right? But the ratio may vary. In certain cases, the ratios will be equal. In certain cases ratio may be unequal. This may vary, but by and large, it is for it will be distributed to your immediate family members.
I think correct. That makes sense. Let's just go on to one another uh, part, which is what even we see in our day-to-day work life is the business succession and the founder's mindset. So usually क्या होता है कि we've seen these first generation entrepreneurs who are now well into their 50s and 60s जो शायद आज they feel that they are adding value. They may be adding more value. I'm not denying that. Let's not take away their years of 40 years of their work. But when it comes to handing over control to the next generation, because the next generation is well into the 30s, well into their 20s, some of them are well into their 40s also. Yet this doesn't happen. Eventually, this has been my reading. Of course, आपका reading कैसा है, we'll also want to know that. Eventually क्या होता है कि now the founder has somehow started basically from the 80s or the 90s. But post 2010-12, there has been a lot of disruptions in the way technology has come up, in the way business is being done, in the way things are happening. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो कंट्रोल हैंड ओवर नहीं होता. तो हमने ये भी देखा है कि एक माइंडसेट शिफ्ट नहीं आता, एंड इवेंचुअली इट रिजल्ट्स इन wealth destruction of the family. So why is it that these things take place?
So I'll try to answer your queries from two aspects. One is where the second generation is there, join the business, but the control is not given to them. The second is, what if the second generation is not interested to join the business? As you rightly said, post 2010, lot of technology, orientation has come, and people are not interested to do the business in the same manner in which the founder was doing till date. So in first case, you have to understand that the person who has started the business, he has started from zero, right? And it is his blood and sweat which he has given to the business for past 30, 40 years to bring the business to the position where it is today. He has been through a lot of ups and downs, and he has lot of attachment with this business. आज जो बिजनेस आपने चालू किया है उससे आपका जो अटैचमेंट है और आपकी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन का जो अटैचमेंट रहेगा उसमें एक डिफरेंस रहता ही है. तो ये अटैचमेंट जो है वो फाउंडर को परमिट नहीं करता है कंट्रोल्स को पास ऑन करने के लिए. रीजन बीइंग ही हैज सर्टेन फियर्स, as in whether he will the successor will be able to maintain the ethics and the value which he was carrying. The successor would be able to give same value to the employees and the customer which he was doing till date. The whether the successor would be able to maintain the quality of the product, maintain the reputation of the company the same way which in which he was doing so long. ये कुछ फियर्स है जिसके कारण फाउंडर कभी भी ये कंट्रोल देने से हिचकिचाता है. एंड द सॉल्यूशन टू दिस इज, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द सॉल्यूशन टू दिस. व्हाट वी सजेस्ट टू द फाउंडर इज दैट यू आर नॉट immortal. Someday or other you have to pass on this baton to somebody else, right? And we do understand that the person that person's thought process may not be similar to what your thought process is, but you both can come to a common place wherein both can reconcile and come to a system through which you can run through this company in future. You need to handhold the second generation, and second generation also should be open to listen to the founder, to the suggestions of the founder. And after a complete handholding, it is only possible to pass on the baton. Otherwise, these fights will keep on going. Now, the second part of this is, which is a biggest challenge so far as Indian economy is concerned, because 70% Indian economy is made of SME businesses. We are not talking about large businesses. They have their system processes in place. They have the leadership, development team, and everything is there. But in SME businesses, where जहाँ पे दुकान खोल के पूजा भी वही करता है और लास्ट में ताला भी वही लगाता है, ठीक है, ऐसे businesses is dying because of the death of the founder. Reason being, either the second generation is not interested to join this traditional business, or the second generation has some of their own venture in the form of startup or something, or the second generation is interested to join some MNCs. Monday to Friday काम करेंगे, Saturday Sunday chill करेंगे, हमें आपके गले में कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं, ठीक है. So now we suggest such businesses कि you should actively look into continuity of business, because this is a legacy which you have created. Your product is acceptable in market. You have a good reputation in the market, which will go to drain if something happens to you. However, so we make them understand that there are two aspects: the ownership of the business and the management of business. You have to understand the difference between two, and then create systems so that the management can continue and is not dependent on you. Maybe you bring the professional management to your company, or you tie up with some company who will take over your business, and you will take a retirement or something or other. So that the idea is that the business should continue. If the business will continue, the overall economy, the business will contribute to the overall economy, right?
That is true. That is true. और plus wealth creation भी होता है. Now
Education भी
this now sir is not just even we've seen in, let's say, you can say it's an off the hook example, but even the Ambani family. जब Dhirubhai Ambani was in the hospital, and how Mukesh Shai and Anil Ambani fought over, and all the things that have happened. वो strange ये लगता है कि even these kind of families often don't create these wells, a succession plan in place.
So I would not say that succession plan was not in place. The challenges with big, companies is to define accountability, roles, responsibility of each and every member in the family. That is the biggest challenge. ठीक है, जितना बड़ा business उतने बड़े challenges, because they are into multiple industries. Now which company is going to be owned by Mukesh Ambani, which company is going to be owned by Anil Ambani, what are their strengths, their weaknesses, their capabilities? There are a lot many things. So I don't think the Dhirubhai Ambani sir has not thought of it. He was going to do justice with the business. But yes, maybe the time could be the issue, that he he was not able to formalize things in time. He was not able to give right directions to the people around, so that the things can be properly taken care of if anything happens to him. What I want to really communicate is that, be it a big business, be it a small business, certain challenges are there with everyone. The sooner you get clarity on what do you want to do with your wealth and the assets, and how do you want to distribute it, the faster you execute your document, the better will be for the entire family as well as for the outsiders, investors, bankers, or anyone who like your product. Today, if for example Raymond's की यदि हम बात करें, for we like to wear Raymond's के कपड़े, ठीक है ना? अब कल को ये कंपनी सक्सेशन के डिस्प्यूट में चली जाती है, एंड वी आर डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ गेटिंग क्लोथ्स कमिंग फ्रॉम द रेमंड्स. That's not right.
I completely agree. I mean, Raymond is a very classic example, and it's a very shocking example too, because Senior Singhania is still around, and yet this has happened.
So that's a classical example of having wrong succession planning.
Or a wrong successor in place.
Yeah, wrong way of succession. So what
Hmm.
we generally suggest is, you plan for succession, you create instruments so that you have control till your lifetime. But after after you are no more, then things can be distributed peacefully, amicably, and in harmony with each other. However, what Mr. Senior Singhania has done is he has gifted his entire shares to his son. Now, once you give a gift which is irrevocable in nature, then you lose control on the assets, you lose control on the property. और वो कहावत है ना, सब पूछते हैं कि आप कैसे हैं जब तक आपके पास पैसे हैं.
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
so you it's a very tricky subject, as in want to have the control, as well as you want to make sure that if anything goes wrong, then somebody else should be in a position to take the control. So that you have to plan very properly.
ये तो कितना बड़ा एक एग्जाम्पल बन जाता है ना कि when so first of all gift when we are saying is irrevocable, so irrevocable what I understand is कि एक बार जो आपने दे दिया वो आप फिर वापस नहीं ले सकते. So the way if I gift, let's say, 10 lakh rupees to my closed ones, then as a measure of gift I cannot, uh, मैं वो ट्रांजैक्शन को नलिफाई नहीं कर सकता, राइट? कि नहीं, वो गलती से मैंने दे दिया तो मुझे वापस दे दो, सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग.
Right,
दैट इज व्हाट इररिवर्केबल मींस, करेक्ट?
right, correct, absolutely right.
तो
So
फिर
what?
इतना बड़ा गलती सिंघानिया, अच्छा सॉरी प्लीज.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
तो
Continue,
मेरा
please.
बस मेरा बस उतना ही है कि आप एक पहले इररिवर्केबल बता दीजिए, और दूसरा ये है कि इतना बड़ा गलती सिंघानिया जी से कैसे हो गया? So,
So I would say it's a very interesting question. I mean, so gift is irrevocable. Otherwise, it is not considered as gift. And once you are given the gift, then you lose effective control on the assets. This is settled. Now, सिंघानिया जी ने इतनी बड़ी गलती कैसे की? और forget about सिंघानिया जी. In in our near and dear family, we see this type of example on a regular basis. I would not name the person, but then in one of my case which we have handled, we have seen कि दो बेटे थे. छोटा बेटा जनरली बहुत प्यारा होता है, ठीक है? तो वो उस छोटे बेटे ने क्या किया कि वो अपने मदर से कभी कुछ बोल करके लेते रहते थे, और उन्होंने बहुत सारा पैसा ले लिया. बड़े बेटे को लगा कि यार ये इस तरीके से तो पूरा खाली कर देगा पेरेंट्स को, और मेरे क्या बचेगा. Sadly, the elder son took a stand, and he has taken his share. He has asked for his share and asked the parents कि आप मेरे को मेरा पैसा दे करके मेरे को अलग कर. The idea was not कि he wants to stay away from the parents. The idea was he wants to protect his family. He wanted to protect and preserve the fund which is there out of the parents' wealth, which is there for him. उसे उसे ये लगने लगा कि थोड़े दिन और यदि मैं ये नहीं किया तो पूरा का पूरा पेरेंट्स का वेल्थ जो है ना ये खत्म कर दिया. So at times, because of we are so fond of our children, we are so attached to our children, we do not see what is going beyond the thing that he is asking for. Could be.
नहीं,
Uh,
ऐसे तो मेरे भी एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली में बहुत सारी सिमिलर सिचुएशंस चल रही हैं. मतलब द यंगेस्ट यंगर चाइल्ड, मे इट बी सन और डॉटर, इज यूजुअली द मोस्ट फेवर्ड, या यंगर नहीं बोलेंगे, द मोस्ट फेवर्ड चाइल्ड.
हाँ.
Unfortunately, the most favored child, na, sir, is always that person who is not adding value to the business or not adding value to the family in any which ways. या तो वो कहीं ना कहीं माँ बाप का ध्यान नहीं रख रहा.
पैम्पर्ड है वो.
हाँ. और उसके लिए ना कहीं से पैसा आ जाता है कि एक्सपेंसिव कार लेने के लिए या फिर एक एक्सपेंसिव वेकेशन करने के लिए, और जो जो बेचारा रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, जो दिन रात मेहनत कर रहा है, उसके पास कुछ नहीं आता. and and they go through all these uh, so many internal fights that, like, मैंने देखा हुआ है, the grudges are like 50-60 year old. हमको कभी कभी लगता है कि इंसान भूल जाएगा.
So you have started a very interesting conversation, Jinay. So if you look closely to this family, father has started business. ठीक है, फादर मस्ट हैव स्टार्टेड इट फ्रॉम जीरो. तो उसका एक अनसेड थॉट प्रोसेस है कि मैं जिस जिस चीज से डिप्राइव हुआ मेरे बच्चे नहीं होने चाहिए. ठीक है. तो
Mhm.
वो जो कमाता है वो कोशिश करता है अपने बच्चों को बेस्ट देने. नाउ फादर जब बिजनेस स्टार्ट करता है, शुरू के 10-15 साल के भीतर फर्स्ट या सेकंड चाइल्ड आ जाता है उसका, राइट? तो बाय द कंप्लीशन ऑफ 20 और 25 इयर्स ऑफ हिज बिजनेस, जिस समय बिजनेस एक हाइप की तरफ जाने की कोशिश करता है, उस समय तक फर्स्ट और सेकंड चाइल्ड उस बिजनेस को ज्वाइन कर लेता है. तो दैट फर्स्ट और सेकंड चाइल्ड हैज आल्सो पुट इन लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट टू bring this business to the level to which it is right now. And the third child, which has started, you know, enjoying the life, he just say कि हाँ हमारे पास तो सब कुछ है. So he has not seen the struggle which the entire family has gone through to bring it to the level where they are right now. Now that is where again the first question which you have started with कि stress कहाँ से चालू होता है? The stress starts from this place. When you are going in a, say suppose Creta or Hyundai Verna, whereas the third the youngest child who might be going to the college right now is using a BMW. आप भी थोड़े दिन चलाते हैं कि यार छोटा भाई है, चलो होने दो, बट वो छोटा छोटा ही रह जाता है, वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल कभी बनता नहीं. And that is where the
Hmm.
entire fight starts. After 10
Hmm.
years of his life, you will find कि these three brothers are fighting with each other. वो कुछ नहीं करता, he is getting so much. Why would I give my share to him? Right?
Hmm.
And the father is not taking appropriate steps so that the fight is fight can be settled. And ये सारे cases फिर कोर्ट पे जाते
Absolutely. I think मेरे को ना एक और चीज याद आ रहा है कि अमिताभ बच्चन हैज रियली कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू द इश्यूज ऑफ सक्सेशन प्लानिंग वाया टू मूवीज जो मुझे अभी याद आ रहे हैं. वन इज फर्स्ट इज बागबान
हैं. हाँ.
एंड सेकंड इज सूर्यवंशी. बागबान में जो आपने बोला वो जीते जी अपने सारे एसेट्स चारों बच्चों को दे देता है. ऑन द कॉन्ट्ररी आई थिंक ही टेक्स सम लोन फ्रॉम द बैंक फॉर हिज child's business or something like that. I think Samir, I forget the character's name. And eventually, he's out on the streets. Both the all four kids don't take care of him at all. Neither him nor हेमा मालिनी जी. सूर्यवंशी में वहां पे थोड़ा सा रिवर्स हो जाता है वापस कि जो लायक बेटा है उसको नालायक गिन के he goes through another series of problems.
So the Bhagwan story gives rise to another sort of, you know, succession dispute जिसमें कि challenges होते हैं. I will tweak the story little bit
Hmm.
that parents are taken care by one child only. There are three.
Okay.
There are three children. Two of them are well-to-do, settled in, say, suppose UK, US, or some fancy cities in the world. This child is from Calcutta, who is taking care of the parents, their all the needs, their medical needs, everything. बाकी दो बच्चे पेरेंट्स को बुलाना तक नहीं चाहते. बहुत से केसेस मिलेंगे आप. But now that's the beauty of having succession plan in place and not what could go wrong if succession plan is not. Now let me ask you, what do you think कि इस पेरेंट की जो प्रॉपर्टी है उसका असली हकदार कौन होना चाहिए? जिसने इसका ख्याल रखा वो, या जो इसको पूछते नहीं थे वो?
जिसने उसका ख्याल रखा.
पर लॉ तो नहीं समझता ये बात. लॉ तो बोलता है कि तीनों को इक्वल मिलना है, और जिस दिन ये डेथ होती है, इनफैक्ट लास्ट ईयर वी डिड a stage show on this. We created a entire concept of story based on this succession plan के matter पे, and we reiterated this thing. अब जैसे ही इस पेरेंट्स की डेथ होती है, दोनों बच्चे आ जाएंगे घर, एंड दे विल इंक्वायर ऑफ बाबूजी के क्या क्या एसेट्स थे, पिताजी के क्या क्या प्रॉपर्टीज थी, लेट्स डिवाइड इक्वली. वहां पे इक्वल डिवीजन याद आता है, जब टेक केयर करना तो याद नहीं आता. Now, यदि यदि as a parent, it is your responsibility to see, to support the person who has been a pillar to you. Now, as a parent, they should have done some or other exercise so that the interest of the person who has been taking care of them can be protected. That is where, that is why it is very important to discuss on this topic, to create awareness on this topic, and to tell people that these sort of cases are रैम्पेंटली अवेलेबल एवरीवेयर, यू कैन सी इट। आप चार फ्रेंड से बात करोगे, चारों फ्रेंड के फैमिली में कुछ ना कुछ एलिमेंट मिलेगा इससे रिलेटेड। बट what is that is stopping you to make your plan, create documents so that you can avoid this conflict later?
सच में कोई लीगल रिकोर्स नहीं है फॉर दैट थर्ड चाइल्ड हु हैज एक्चुअली टेकन केयर ऑफ द पेरेंट, बिकॉज उसका तो लिटरली स्वेट इक्विटी लगा हुआ है इन द फैमिली एसेट्स।
सर स्वेट लगा हुआ इक्विटी नहीं है। सो
हाँ,
यदि हम
अग्रीड।
लॉ की बात करें तो एक्चुअल में लीगल रिकोर्स नहीं है। बट यदि हम कस्टम की बात करें, ही कैन गो विद द प्ली, दिस इज व्हाट हैज हैपेंड। बट हु इज अबव लॉ and who is above judiciary? Why to create a situation to get to that place? If I have to give you the data, it suggests that 76% of court cases are property and family dispute matters. And also that if any matter goes to the court for these reasons, it takes at least 10 to 15 years of time to settle the dispute. तो अब दो बात है, आपने पैसा कमाया, आपने मेहनत की, और इस इंटेंशन से कमाया कि मेरी फैमिली को जब जब जरूरत होगी ये पैसा मिलेगा, ठीक है। पर जब सबसे ज्यादा आपकी फैमिली को इस पैसे की जरूरत है, उस समय में ये पैसा फैमिली के काम नहीं आ रहा है, लॉयर्स के पॉकेट भर रहा है। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज रियली विच वी नीड टू ब्रिंग अपफ्रंट। Law is very clear, law is very simple as well, as I would say, and there are a lot of challenges which law is also facing in today's scenario. You know, India का social fabric भी change हो रहा है। Earlier we used to have a joint family concept, right? Now in past 10-15 years we are seeing more and more of individual family concept. तो जॉइंट फैमिली में यदि किसी को कुछ हो जाता था तो उसकी फैमिली को बाकी फैमिली मेंबर सस्टेन कराते थे। पर इंडिविजुअल फैमिली कॉन्सेप्ट में तुम तुम्हारे हम हमारे, आते हैं जाते हैं मिलते हैं, लेकिन अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स आप अपने आप टैकल कर लो, राइट। एट द सेम टाइम we are now in a society where live-in relationship, where same-sex marriages, where lot of other things are happening. Succession law is not equipped to handle those matters. Live-in relationship में किसका क्या right होगा? Succession law is silent about that. What will happen to those cases? Same-sex marriages में who will be the wife and who will be the husband? Law is not clear about it because law जब बना था उस समय में ये सारे concept नहीं थे. As I said कि the law has emerged from the tradition. तो tradition बहुत change हो गया है. Law need to be relook into. As I said, father is a class 2 legal है. Classical example. अरे भाई father dependent नहीं हो सकता है क्या? कहाँ लिखा हुआ है ऐसा? Lot of representations which has gone to the parliament कि father should be bring into the class 1 instead of class 2. But आज भी law वही है.
नहीं, तो मुझे ना एक और चीज इसमें कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी लग रहा है,
हम्म.
क्योंकि एक जगह पे लॉ और उसका रूल्स क्लियर है, और दूसरी जगह पे इतने सारे कोर्ट केसेस हैं जो अभी पे पेंडिंग है। क्योंकि इफ देर इज, सो व्हाट वी लर्नड इज, इफ देर इज रूल्स, द डिस्प्यूट शुड हैव बीन हैंडल्ड क्विकली। इतना टाइम क्यों लग रहा है?
So what happens is there are four major reasons जिसके कारण एक will challenge होती है. So say suppose you have made your will and after the death of the person the will was pronounced to the family, and then somebody has contested that I do not agree to this will document, there is something wrong. What could be those four reasons? The person who has written the will doesn't have the testamentary capacity, that is he is not of sound mind when he was writing will. कोई बच्चा ये क्लेम कर सकता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने अभी बताया कि जिस बच्चे ने टेक केयर किया, अब उसके फादर ने विल बनाई और बोला कि मेरे इस बच्चे को ही सारा प्रॉपर्टी मिलना चाहिए मेरा, बिकॉज ही यूज टू टेक केयर ऑफ मी, बाकी दो बच्चे को नहीं मिलना चाहिए। तो बाकी दो बच्चे बिकॉज ऑफ लॉ, द राइट दैट दे हैव, they get from the law, they can pursue to the court, tell them that our rights are not protected. We foresee that there are some fraud which has happened or some under force father has signed this document, or probably he was not in his sound mind while he was writing this document, or there is some forgery which has happened with the document, some those documents has been put in place. तो ये सारे मैटर्स पे विल चैलेंज होती, दैट इज नंबर वन. नंबर टू, देयर कुड बी the reason that no document is executed and the family members are not able to settle the disputes amongst each other. Somebody is saying कि ये प्रॉपर्टी तो मेरे को ही मिलनी चाहिए, the other one is saying कि नहीं ये प्रॉपर्टी मेरे को मिलनी चाहिए. So the matter goes to the court. So because of these reasons, those matters are pending to the court for long. Succession law is very simple, very clear. बहुत छोटा सा लॉ है, बहुत बड़ा लॉ भी नहीं है. बट देन जितने तरह के कॉम्प्लिकेशन ओवर द पीरियड अराइज हुए इन द सोसाइटी, सक्सेशन लॉ उसको हैंडल नहीं कर पा रहा है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई ऑल द मैटर्स आर गोइंग टू द कोर्ट.
Okay. Okay. And plus, it's a 140 crore population of the country. The courts are also less. वो भी बेचारे overworked हैं, थक चुके हैं. And there are some new things people always devise out of absolutely nothing.
आई डू अग्री.
Yeah. So I think there's a very interesting comment by Kabir Bedi. Because, sir, this is a very similar situation with my family as a business. I'm a third generation who plans to join MNC instead of the family business. तो कबीर जी, एक तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन के हिसाब से आप थोड़े नालायक हो कि यार मतलब हमारा बिजनेस नहीं आ रहे हो, बट ठीक है. it's it's the way things are. Now Lavanya is asking a very interesting question कि so how do you handle these silent heirs जो इन्वॉल्व तो कुछ नहीं करते हैं, मतलब जो हमने वो बात की ना, वो जो पहले दो बच्चों की, थर्ड थर्ड चाइल्ड इज द वन हु सपोज टू टेक केयर ऑफ द फैमिली, एंड बट उनको एक्सपेक्टेशन पूरा है. So let's say कि how do you if you are the if you are the lawyer for the, or you are a succession planner for the family, और जहाँ थर्ड चाइल्ड आपके साथ बैठा हुआ है वो दोनों तो एक यूएसए कनाडा है. Now how do you handle these people or these
So,
situations?
so that's a, again a very interesting question. I mean, so what happens is, as I said, will is about your wish, your intention. What do you want to do with your assets? And it is a settled principle that it is your earned money. Whatever you want to do, the court will give that effect to. However, before that has been given effect to, it has to be 100% sure that this is not forced, or this is not under some influence, or under some coercion, or under some other tactics. तो उसको हैंडल करना जरूरी है. यदि कभी आप ऐसी कोई विल बनाते हो जिसमें कि आप किसी एक को फेवर कर रहे हो और बाकी दो को डिप्राइव कर रहे हो, राइट? तो योर विल शुड बी अ वेरी स्पीकिंग डॉक्यूमेंट. when since you are not there at the time when the will be put into the motion, your will document should be so speaking that as if you are standing in front of court and dictating your terms, that this is my money and my lord, I want to do this. That clarity is important. That clarity should come out of your will document. Again, when a will is examined in the court doesn't see कि किसी को नहीं मिला तो क्यों नहीं मिला. कोर्ट ये देखना चाहता है कि नहीं मिला तो उसके पीछे क्या रीजन था, क्या वो सही रीजन था, और क्या ये टेस्टेटर की खुद की इच्छा थी. यदि वो खुद की इच्छा थी तो भले ही उसकी वाइफ को भी नहीं मिला तो भी कोर्ट अलाउ करता है. सो that is where you need the help of experts who can help you in the proper documentation. बहुत जन आते हैं मेरे को पूछते हैं कि सर एक विल का ड्राफ्ट मिल जाए तो काम हो जाएगा. मैं बोलता हूँ गूगल में जा, एन नंबर ऑफ ड्राफ्ट्स आपको मिल जाएंगे. टेक अ प्रिंट आउट, छापो योर नेम एंड गिव इट. बट those type of cases are prone to challenges. If you
Yes.
foresee such type of cases, please what is more suggested is कि take proper advice and draft it properly.
मेरे को ना ये एक चीज से बड़ा व- मतलब इट्स थोड़ा सा थॉट, एक विश्वास नहीं बैठता इंसानियत पे कि विल इज सच एन इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ, और आपको वो भी चीज वो फ्री में चाहिए, तो आप चैट जीपीटी, परप्लेक्सिटी, इतने सारे एआई के टूल्स आ गए हैं, वही करवा लो। व्हाई द एक्सपर्ट्स आर एक्चुअली नीडेड टू नेविगेट सिचुएशंस, एंड मोस्ट पीपल फील कि वो सिचुएशन हमारे यहाँ आने ही नहीं वाली।
सर इसके पीछे कारण है,
अच्छा।
क्योंकि क्योंकि आप ये डॉक्यूमेंट बना के आज की डेट में सेटिस्फाई हो रहे हो,
हम्म।
पर इस डॉक्यूमेंट का इम्प्लीकेशन तब आएगा जब आप नहीं रहोगे। तो आप सोच ही नहीं पा रहे हो कि 25-50 हजार लाख रुपए की एडवाइजरी का क्या वैल्यू है।
सही बात है।
आपको ये लग रहा है कि ये तो एक सिंपल डॉक्यूमेंट है, आज बना रहे हैं, हम ऐसे भी बना सकते थे, ये तो एक ड्राफ्टिंग है, क्या करना है इसमें। बट there are so many thought process which goes behind the drafting of a will document or a trust document. You know, abhi I was, you know, reading the real life story of one person who has died in Air India crash. तो मुझे ऐसा पता चला कि उसके दो बच्चे हैं, माइनर है, यूके में था, सॉरी यूएस में था या यूके में था, कहीं पे था, एंड ही हैज ट्रेवल्ड टू इंडिया अपनी वाइफ का क्रिमेशन के लिए, एंड आफ्टर दैट ही वाज गोइंग बैक एंड ही
आई थिंक ही
डाइड
वाज
इन
इन
द
यूके।
क्रैश. हाँ, he was in UK, right? He was going back to take care of his children. Now think of a situation where the children are now minor. He must have a good he must have good amount of property for their benefit. But in absence of any instrument in place, the entire wealth is open to risk of manipulation, risk of misappropriation, because somebody will use that money for the benefit of the children, और वहीं पे मिसअप्रोप्रिएशन और मिसयूटिलाइजेशन का चांसेस बहुत हाई हो सकता है. Whereas if you create some documentation, some structure, and legally bind the person who is going to take care of your children if anything happens to you, then lot of such issues can be avoided.
एब्सोल्युटली, एब्सोल्युटली। सो देयर इज वन क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम मीरा। तो मीरा, आपके क्वेश्चन पे हम आएंगे बाद में, बिकॉज दैट इज आल्सो वन ऑफ माय क्वेश्चंस। बट दिस स्वाति का एक इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट इज द राइट टाइम टू स्टार्ट प्लानिंग अ लेगेसी। वो इट्स बीन ऑन हर माइंड सिंस क्वाइट सम टाइम, इज व्हाट शी इज सेइंग।
I like this question like anything.
अच्छा।
Wherever I go for a talk on this subject, कोई ना कोई ये क्वेश्चन मेरे को पूछता है.
ओके।
और इफ आई वुड हैव टू रिफ्रेज इट, बहुत जन ये बोलते हैं कि अभी तो हमारी एज क्या हुई है.
सही बात है, मैं थर्टीज में हूँ, फोर्टीज में हूँ, मेरा तो क्या ही लेगेसी है मतलब।
तो मेरा पहला जवाब, फर्स्ट लाइन ये रहती है कि वेयर इन योर बॉडी योर एक्सपायरी डेट इज गिवन.
हम्म।
You go buy a medicine, there is an expiry date. You go buy any product, the expiry date is given. But in our body, nowhere you will find the expiry date. Second is, like the example which we were talking about, जो यूके का बंदा था जो कलकत्ता इंडिया आया था और अपने बच्चों के पास वापस जा रहा था. I believe कि if you are into the age bracket of 35 to 50, इस एज ब्रैकेट में आपके पेरेंट्स भी डिपेंडेंट होते हैं, आपके बच्चे भी डिपेंडेंट, एंड इस एज ब्रैकेट में आपको और आपकी वाइफ को कुछ होता है, तो इट इज द वर्स्ट थिंग विच कैन हैपन टू योर फैमिली, बिकॉज बोथ द एंड आर dependent on you. I strongly suggest the day you have some dependent and the day you have some assets for disposal, plan it. I am a firm believer of one line which I would like to share with you, and that one line is version 1 is better than version none. आप अपना version 1 बना के रखिए. Will is a document you can review it any number of time in your lifetime. ठीक है. Today you have made a will. After 3 years you want to change it. Tear it off. Write a new will. No issue. Till the time you are alive, it's merely a document. It put into the motion only after the death of the person who is writing it. What's the harm in that? Even if I am 35, I have a minor child, I would write it. If I'm 45, I have two children, I will write it. Every 3 year, I will try to review it and make it realign to based on my reality.
Or let's say if there is somebody who's single, doesn't want to get married, he's got some assets, 50 lakh, 1 crore. Might as well give it to some charity if you after you're gone.
$100%.
Rather than giving it to people who are not really, into your circles.
100%. So that's an interesting take again. Charity is not a charitable institutions are not considered as relative in any of the citizen law, right? And there are many cases when we have seen that the person is interested to part of his some part of wealth for the benefit of the society. Now, let me tell you, यदि आपने विल नहीं बनाई है तो ये पॉसिबल ही नहीं। पॉसिबल इस तरीके से हो सकता है ड्यूरिंग योर लाइफ टाइम आप कुछ दे दो, आफ्टर यू आर नो मोर, out of your wealth, not a single penny will go to anyone.
Correct. That makes sense. So इसमें एक मेरा का ही क्वेश्चन है कि what are the unexpected legal loopholes? देखो लॉ है, लूप होल भी निकलेगा ही. So in these situations, family है, single person है, या फिर they have some dependents. What are the legal loopholes that they need to really tighten it out? Yeah,
So
just be aware.
there are many legal loopholes which are possible. First is that there are certain prerequisites as far as law is concerned. If you are writing a will, for example, you need to have at least two witnesses who are signing the will document. Now, in order to have a legally valid will, you need to have at least two witnesses in place. That's one of the things. Second is, will still in India cannot be a digital document. It has to be physical document to be signed by the testator. So there could be many such things, like in the case which we have discussed, when you want to give benefit to one of the son, but you want to deprive two sons, right? So ये भी एक लूप होल हो सकता है कि कोई इसको अपने एडवांटेज में भी यूज कर सकता है, आउट ऑफ malicious intention. He can ask his father, and he can influence his father or his mother and ask him to make a will in favor of only one person. So there are n number of things which are possible.
ये भी हो सकता है ना कि गवर्नमेंट बाबू जो है वहां पे बैठा हुआ, उसको अगर कुछ पैसा खाना है तो बोलेगा आपने विल रजिस्टर किया कि नहीं, क्यों नहीं किया
So
है.
a good question. I will so far as law is concerned, registration of will is not compulsory. ठीक है, ये एक बहुत मिसनॉमर है, मिसकंसेप्ट है लोगों में कि आप स्टैम्प पेपर पे विल बनाओ, आप विल को रजिस्टर कराओ, आप विल को नोटराइज कराओ. देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो रिक्वायरमेंट. ठीक है, still people do register the will, and we also advise in cases wherein we see that there are chances of any dispute or any contest to the will which has been written. Like in our case, when you are giving to one son, depriving two sons, so there are chances that two sons will go to court and ask for the remedial measures. In such cases, it is advisable कि आप अपनी will को register कराओ. Once you get your will registered, there are few benefits it comes with. One is forgery की chance खत्म हो जाते हैं because our document is there with the registrar office as well. Second is, the registrar see that the person has come, he has signed the will in his presence. So to a certain extent उसकी testamentary capacity पूरी fulfill होती है, and at the same time ये भी fulfill होता है कि he has willingly signed this document. तो पॉसिबल ये भी है कि उसको फोर्सफुली बोला जाए कि जाकर के साइन करो, but still to a certain extent you are in a position to feed to the court that these are the circumstances wherein the will document is signed, so it has to be given effect. But if you have an unregistered will, it has equal legal importance.
That's quite comforting. So as we move to the last question of the day, because already we've been over 1 hour,
Wow.
and या इट वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन। तो ऐसे टाइम पे ना वो समय का पता नहीं लगता।
Right, right, true.
uh, so let's just give us some 10 steps, yeah, to ensure a very smooth succession planning, कि क्या क्या करना चाहिए। कंसिडर somebody as a very novice person जिसके पास कुछ एसेट्स हैं, फैमिली है, तो उसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप क्या क्या सोचना चाहिए और कैसे जाना चाहिए इन ऑर्डर टू क्रिएट दिस प्लान इन प्लेस।
So I would not say it's a 10 step because steps may vary depending on your complexities. But I would like to deal it in two different scenario. One is you have personal wealth. The other is your personal wealth as well as business. So if you have only personal wealth, for example, a salaried class who has earned good money and he has personal wealth, the first thing is that he should have clarity about what he wants to do. And how will this clarity comes is he has to sit down, he has to understand the need of each and every family members, their future plans, and based on that how long he want to support to each and every family member. Those should be first taken care of, and then rest of the money with in whatever manner he wants to distribute, he can distribute, right? He should clearly list down all the assets and properties, relationship which may come in existence in future, and then based on that, he should make the allocation to all the beneficiaries. Decide about who is going to execute this will. Execute this will means after the death of the person, who is going to put this will in motion and distribute the assets as per the uh, provisions which you are going to mention in the will document. Then you should decide about who all are going to be the witness to the will document. Where should you keep this will? How should you inform your family members? As in, you have made your will and it should be given effect to if something happens to you. And if there are unequal distribution, then to bring the entire family members to a consensus that something is being done for everyone, and looking at the requirement of each and everyone, some provisions are done for people. And if there is someone who has been deprived, the reason of that thereof should also be properly put into the will document. Now if you have business also, then as I said, if the second generation are joining, handhold them, give them freedom, make them understand that this is their business. Do not regulate much. You have to handhold, not to regulate. And with the passes of time, pass on the baton to them so that they can run the business without your involvement. If you do not have the second line in place, then actively start looking for someone who can continue the business, some merger acquisition, some buyout sellout deals, some other mechanism wherein you can collaborate with some of the companies so that the business will continue. Create a structure wherein the ownership is separated, the management is separated, so that the family keep on getting the dividend or the royalty or the lump sum money for the business, and that the business is also continued. These are some of the steps which you should need to again involve someone who can help the entire family members to come to the same table and communicate communicate with all of them effectively. These are some of the things which you should bring to your awareness while planning for your success.
Thank you so much, sir। मेरे को ना there's one thing that really hit me was कि जो क्लैरिटी आना चाहिए, सिट डाउन विथ योर फैमिली मेंबर्स, किसका कितना एक्सपेक्टेशन है, क्या है, मेक श्योर दैट दीज एक्सपेक्टेशंस आर रियली वेल स्पोकन आउट एंड कम्युनिकेटेड। ये जो अनसेड एक्सपेक्टेशन है, ये सारी गिल्ट है, ये सारी जो चीजें हैं वो अंदर रह जाती हैं, देन इवेंचुअली इवन कोर्ट्स एंड लॉ कैन नॉट हेल्प यू सो मच। दे कैन ओनली, लाइक यू राइटली सेड, कि दे कैन ओनली लुक फॉर द कॉजेस which were fair और नॉट, उससे ज्यादा तो वो लोग भी क्या ही कर लेंगे, मतलब there's no you can't have a legal recourse to something, that the family was not clear on. I think वो बहुत बहुत ज्यादा important है. With
100%.
that, thank you so much for your time today. I think, आपने बहुत हमको आज knowledge दिया है इस चीज का. It's been a crash course actually on succession planning. ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है. If you want to give any final comments, या ऐसा कुछ आपको लग रहा है you wanted to cover which you couldn't.
I am really grateful to you. I mean, thank you so much for having me here. And this subject, I really want to communicate to as many people as possible. And I'm really thankful to you to become a channel for this. I wish people should understand this, take effective steps because we know how to earn and we put lot of effort in earning, and we put at the same time lot of effort in putting that hard earned money to some or other investment so that our money grows, become wealth, right? But we do not have the clarity as in what we want to do with this wealth. What will happen to this wealth after if something happens to me? That is where I really wish that it should go to public at large. And that was the idea behind creating a website called dillsaving.com so that a general person, a layman with say suppose 20 lakh rupees of assets can come and make his will. There are a lot of challenges people are facing, whom to go to, what to talk about, how do I make the will. There are a lot many questions. No need. You even not required to to compromise with your productive hours to leave your office. The important aspect is if we can reach to a level when this can be a part and parcel of our business and investment work, then lot of litigation we can remove out of society and we can preserve lot of wealth for the nation. Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm here, and I thoroughly enjoyed entire conversation. I would be happy to address your audience as and when you.
Absolutely, sir. वापस एक सेशन करेंगे थोड़ा और डिटेल में, थोड़ा और लोगों का फीडबैक लेके in terms of what are their day-to-day challenges in this, and we'll definitely do something. Thank you so much for your time.
I would be glad to do that.